Hello, my name is Ian Gibson. Today I will be giving you a PowerPoint presentation on emergency preparedness. History of emergency preparedness. What is emergency preparedness? This is a way for a person, family, or business to have steps in place to handle all stressful situations that can occur throughout your life and career. It's important that you manage the risk and the events during an emergency to ensure the best possible outcome of personnel and equipment. Legislation dates back to as early as 1803, where the government provided disaster relief funds to Portsmouth, New Hampshire for severe losses due to a fire. This was the first time government relief support was given for state and local governments. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, was established by President Carter, and the funds for the program went to support reconstruction of both man-made and natural disasters to a city or state. In 2003, the Department of Homeland Security adopted FEMA after recent 9/11 terrorist attacks on New York City. They fell under the Emergency Preparedness and Response Directorate, which provided a quicker response to future emergencies for the United States. So why is change management important? History has taught us that change management allows us to be prepared for the unthinkable, and many of the same principles can be applied to any business for success in any emergency. Developing the plan. Building a program to handle emergencies can be a difficult feat, but is mandatory to protect your personnel and equipment. Emergencies can happen at any time, and they can come from different threats, internally, externally, or even natural disasters. But businesses need to have a plan in place to execute to ensure the safety of their personnel and equipment. There are protective actions for life safety, which include evacuation, sheltering, lockdown, and accountability. These items will help protect the employees and will minimize some of the risk associated with any emergency. Companies can create standard operating procedures which provide employees the procedures that are required during operations and emergencies. The procedures can include phone lists, proper ways of communicating, and even the specific emergency response plans. OSHA, which is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, their 29 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 1910, covers how businesses must deal with all workplace hazards to include emergency action plans. This is the minimum regulations that are enforced, but management always has the option of going above and beyond when creating their individual plans. Specific roles for employees is important because it can prevent chaos during an emergency. These employees are specifically trained to complete different tasks in the high-stress situations, and it allows an efficient means for following the proper procedures to include accountability, which is per the OSHA regulations. Types of emergencies. Threats are becoming more frequent in the United States, and it's necessary for businesses to be prepared for the worst-case scenario. They should make a plan to cover all emergency scenarios and ensure that the plan can handle the size of their business. Internal threats are described as threats that come from inside the continental U.S. These come from active shooters, riots, or even economic factors. Active shooters are still currently a huge trending topic in the news and can occur almost anywhere. Businesses should be prepared for these types of emergencies and ensure that they protect their personnel and their equipment. Two prime examples of this are San Bernardino, California, where an active shooter viciously attacked a health organization, and the riots of Ferguson, Missouri. External threats. In 2003, New York City, New York was the victim of one of the worst terrorism acts ever, in my opinion. The acts were directed by organizations outside the continental U.S. While these are not a common occurrence, these types of attacks can become a reality quickly with today's technologies. Natural disasters. Every year there are many natural disasters that affect many different states. These consist of hurricanes, flooding, tornadoes, and severe snowstorms. They all can cause massive destruction and can impact a business indefinitely. States do have the option of using the National Guard in support of all emergent disasters, and they have the means of providing equipment and personnel for humanitarian aid. Incorporating emergency preparedness. No matter what position I end up as a manager, emergency preparedness is a topic that can be applied anywhere. Managers accept a lot of responsibility when they are hired, and understanding their workforce to ensure safety during emergent situations is important. Managers don't necessarily perform the roles during the emergency, but they ensure that they are covered and enforced when the time comes. I would ensure that I would create contacts for accountability, specific roles for safe evacuations, and key personnel trained on the safety equipment within the facility. Managers are generally involved with the writing of policies covering emergencies because they manage at different levels of the organization. They understand the key elements and personnel that can handle the stress of an emergent situation when the time comes. Incorporating the learned information and techniques from previous experiences will assist me in managing personnel. While in the military, I was deployed to multiple locations that got attacked regularly. I recognize how each location reacted differently due to the threat it faced. Commanders would use risk avoidance to make the plan of action to ensure troop safety, and these procedures were part of their SOPs. After Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, Louisiana, my unit was deployed to that location to hoist survivors off rooftops, deliver supplies to preset locations, and transport injured civilians to hospitals. Commanders would be given the task, and then they would have to prioritize the most critical relief efforts first. My career has consisted of working in aviation, and whenever severe weather would threaten the area, we would temporarily relocate our aircraft to a safe environment. The pre-planning consisted of fuel stops, airfield parking locations, and lodging until safe return. These few types of pre-planning steps are very important to ensuring the safety of personnel and equipment. In conclusion, emergency preparedness is a critical topic that requires discussion to establish the procedures for an organization during an emergency. History has shown how emergencies have changed to accommodate updated procedures based on the different threats that have been established. Having a suitable plan in place will allow your business to be successful in the event of an emergency. Creating the SOPs and following OSHA guidelines will keep your personnel and equipment safe. We covered the different types of emergencies that could come from internal or external threats and natural disasters. We saw key examples of real-life emergencies from these threats. Handling the stress of an emergent situation is important as a manager, and we saw how specific roles should be established to handle the situations. My personal experiences have given me many different procedures and techniques that I am able to use for future management positions.